All right. Try two. We're here. I just talked to Whitney. She should be coming in anytime. Hey, Phil. How are you? Good to see you. I like that stuff you sent over to Shane. I was reading that earlier today. There's Erie. There she is. Here she comes. Adding Whitney now. Go live with me.
Hey.
Hi, we got it working.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm not the best with technology, so I must have missed it.
Okay, and I'm glad you practiced earlier too. I see Cassie in here too. Hey, Cassie. Yeah, so we're going live tonight. I'm super excited about this. For those of you who don't know me, I am Nita. I help Shane and the judge and the howler kind of behind the scenes with social media, and being that we're getting ready to go into Monster Fest. Hi, Cassie. We wanted to make sure that we elevated as many of our fellow vendors, sponsors, speakers that we can between now and then. And one of the first people I reached out to, because I was really excited about her oil painting, was Whitney. So if you could go ahead, introduce yourself and let us know how you got into the arts and, being creative. I'd love to know that. And I'm sure they would too.
Yeah, so I have always been interested in the arts. My mom has always been a creative person and has always been into like crafting and creating things. So I've always been interested from her. And then we used to go to the library all the time, and I used to always check out like craft books and stuff like that, and always try just like new and different things. And then I've always liked to draw, but I was always too shy to ever share any of my art with anybody. And so over the pandemic, I kind of got interested in oil painting. I came across like YouTube tutorials and things like that. And I found a couple people that I really liked and started following them, and just kind of learned on my own from following different creators on YouTube and Instagram. And I finally got some friends and family that were like, oh, I really like your stuff. Oh, could you paint me something? Blah, blah, blah. So I started to get a little more confidence and started sharing my stuff on Instagram. So
That is completely self-taught then.
Yeah.
Is it all everything's been self-taught?
100% self-taught. Yeah.
And we can say you were officially born with it.
Yeah.
My background, that Shane and I met because of the music industry. So we always say that, you can either acquire it and craft it and perfect it, or you might be born with it. And looking at some of your stuff, I definitely say you're born with it. So that's pretty awesome. I love it. So what are all the different types of art that you create?
So right now my main things are the oil painting. That's like my number one thing that I like to do. And then I also do needle felting, which is very like a weird craft. I really like to watch YouTube and stuff. So I just happened to stumble across it on YouTube, and I was like, what is this weird witchcraft? And so I started doing it because I just like love creating things. So whenever I see new things, I always just like love to give it a try and just see if I can do it or see how it goes. And needle felting was just a weird thing that I saw and just got drawn to. And I love the oil painting, but like needle felting is cool because it's really neat to like create a three-dimensional object. And I tried doing clay for a little bit, and clay just doesn't work with me. I can never get it how I want it, but needle felting just sort of worked with me. So I mainly stick to oil painting and needle felting. So
I did see some of your old work where you were drawing too, and like you said, when you came out and started sharing openly on Instagram back during the pandemic, and I could see your evolution, going through the feed of how you did things. And one of your time lapse videos when you were making the crumpets, and you're doing the stab. If you've never seen this, it's a lot of this. Okay, it reminds me of a tattoo needle, people. Okay, and the first thing I thought was, how many times have you stabbed yourself with that needle?
A lot.
I didn't know. We were like, I seen Nora's hands, and I was like, I wonder if she's poked herself yet. Doing that.
Like finger gloves that you can wear, and that helps. So I wore those a lot when I was first starting out, but it's much better not to use them so you can get a feel of the wool. Yeah, and so I've stopped using them, and I just really have to pay attention. But like almost like as soon as I look away, every time I get stabbed, and it's always a surprise.
Oh my gosh. Let's see. What do you love about oil, and what do you love about working, in the 3D world?
So oil painting, well, I think it's like really cool to see the evolution of a piece, starting out with like a blank canvas or just like a ball of wool, and watching it transform into something over time. And with oil painting, I just get like lost in the process. I really love just going through the process of setting the scene and putting like the darks on and the contrast and mixing the oil. And I just like love doing all of that. It just like something just like feels good about it, I guess. And it's fun to be able to like manipulate and create your own scenes and just like build your own worlds essentially. Because I just really like escapism and like surreal fantasy art and things like that. And I just love like being able to create just like other worlds and other realities. And then with the needle felting, it's just like really cool to create a three-dimensional thing, because I've always been interested in like sewing and sculpting, but I've never been very good at that stuff. I just like haven't had the patience. So with the needle felting, it's a fun way to be able to create a 3D sculpture in a sort of like a unique and different way, because you don't really see too many people that do needle felt art. And so it's kind of like...
No, you don't. So it's very rare. I love it. Yeah, because I was watching, I've been catching up on a lot of your YouTube content, your Instagram reels, and it's fascinating to me, especially, with the time lapse of all the work and the effort. Because I know if you're using time lapse and it's 16 minutes, then it was a lot longer than that, right? To make that piece of art that you're selling to somebody. And as we kind of joked the other day, sometimes people see a cat toy and sometimes people see a piece of art. And your little here that you made. All right. So is there anything left you'd like to learn how to do in the art world? Is there something you want to take on and you're curious about?
I don't know. I love learning in general, so I'm always interested in like new and different things. Like, so whenever I come across something new, I'm always interested in it. I'm interested in like building things, like building sort of like 3D things with like wood and stuff like that would be very cool. And then I have a friend that does wood burning, and that looks very cool. Her stuff is very like intricate, so I'm very like amazed by that and how that process works. So maybe something like that. Again, yeah, I have a real hard time focusing on just like a couple things. I kind of get like scattered, so.
Hey, that is okay. That's the beauty about art, is you can just elevate into other, outlets, and whatever feels good, you just try it on and play with it. That's kind of the whole point. Where do you sell your art? Like in person and online?
Yeah, so I do a lot of local markets. I'm in Louisville, Kentucky, and we have a thing called the Flea Off Market, and they have weekends once a month in the like in the spring and the summer. So I usually always do their events, yeah. And then whenever there's local art markets, I try to do those. And then I'd like to do more cryptid focused events. Sometimes it's hard for me to like drive so far because I work a regular 9 to 5 job. So sometimes having to like drive like over 4 hours, it can be like a little harder for me. But I'm trying to manage my schedule so I can do some more events. But I do also have an Etsy. I'm really bad about updating it, but I try to keep it updated fairly regularly whenever I'm done doing markets and stuff like that. So that way I have stuff for my markets versus stuff online.
So you're not doing like the Meta store yet, where you've got the Instagram store where they can go and float over to your Etsy or any of that. It's just you got to go through your buy and get to Etsy, and then come to a show and catch you local.
Exactly. Yeah. So with the Instagram store, I like was gonna try to do it, but for some reason it doesn't. I whenever I had looked, it may be different now, but it wouldn't link up with your Etsy. You had to have a Shopify account or one of the other ones I don't remember, and so I haven't looked back into that.
Okay.
And then
every few months, check them out because they do update every so often. They'll allow. So keep checking back like quarterly to see what they've rolled out.
Okay.
That. Let's see. We talked about the shows. What do you like most about when you're meeting your community and you're actually out at a show and you get to see these people come up and discover your art or rediscover your art? I'm sure you have a fan club by now. I see quite a few of them in our chat that are just, left to pieces. So,
yeah, it's like so fun to talk to people in real life. That's one thing that I love about doing shows is it's so fun to meet people who have never seen my stuff before. And it's really fun to see the reaction and then talk with them about it as well, especially people that don't have much of like an art background or much art knowledge. It's really fun to talk to those people and kind of tell them my process and how I go about it, and just sort of see what they're interested in, what they like about my art. It's like really interesting to see what other people see because I see my art all the time since I create it. So it's really interesting to view it through other people's eyes and through like fresh eyes. And it's also really fun to explain to people what cryptids are. So like it's really an interesting gap of people that don't know what they are at all to knowing a few to knowing all of them. So sort of like explain that to them as well as explain how and why I end up incorporating them in my art and stuff like that. So
I was going to say, speaking of the cryptids, because that's one of the things I wanted to ask you was how, when I look back at your art and where you started and how you were building things, how did adding the cryptids to your landscapes and your art come about?
So I was mostly painting landscape scenes and stuff sort of in that vein. And I really felt like they needed something else. I really felt like they kind of had that like liminal space vibe where they kind of were just like desolate and empty and just kind of needed something else to give it more life and give it more story. And I had come across the Fresno Nightcrawlers video. And when I saw that, I don't know why, but I just got very attached to it. I was like, what are these creatures and why do I not know about them? And so from there, I kind of learned about other cryptids and I was like, holy cow, there's like a whole world of these like mythical creatures that I've like never heard of. And so I thought it'd be really fun to incorporate them into my paintings and give them like a story and a landscape. And for a while there, I had like my own little creatures that I created that are based off of the Fresno Nightcrawlers. And I was adding them in my paintings and giving them little stories. And I thought it'd also be fun to incorporate a vast like array of cryptids and kind of give them more of like a personality outside of their mythos.
That is pretty cool. Yeah, I saw those and where you had taken off and built onto that. So it's interesting. That's what it started with, was that, watching that and then implementing them all into your work.
Yeah.
But and that's the cryptid community. What are you looking forward to at Monster Fest?
Oh man, I'm looking forward to so much. I'm really excited that it's their first festival, so I'm really interested to see how it goes and to meet everybody. And I'm really excited to see everybody in the cryptid community that I haven't seen for a while. Because I don't think I saw everyone at Frogman Fest, and so it'll be really nice to like see all my favorite artists again and then meet new artists and just meet like new people and also be in an area that I haven't been before. Because I typically, like I said, I don't travel too much for shows, so it'll be really able to do a show that is way further out of my, normal range. And so that way, hopefully I can meet a lot more new fans and like new artists and stuff like that. So I'm just really excited to show my stuff somewhere new and see everybody I already know and meet new people. So,
do you have anything handy near you that you can show us that you're going to bring with you?
Yeah. So I brought a couple things in here. Let's see. So, sorry,
I cat to come through at any point, so we're just rolling with it, girl. I do not care. Everybody on here, they're just gonna have to roll with the end.
So for a little bit there, I was doing neon colored stuff. So I have these neon ones that are painted. And these are painted they're oil on paper, and then I framed them. And then I have this oil painting.
Yeah, I saw that one on Instagram. It's so cute.
Yeah, this one was one of my favorite because I really love like woodsy and like forest nature sort of scenes. And so I had seen this one's based off of a ancient temple that I think it's in China, and it's like this overrun temple, and it has all of these trees growing out of it and all this like overgrown foliage, and I thought, oh, that's really cool. So it's based off of that. And then I have my D&D one. Yeah, so that's Cryptids Play Dungeons and Dragons. And
I love you, Cassie. Cassie was saying how much she loves that tree on your last piece. And I was
thanks, yeah. Cassie. Yeah, so I thought it'd be fun to do the Cryptids Playing Dungeons and Dragons because I love D&D, and I had painted them dressed up like they were at a Ren fair, and so I thought it'd be really funny if they were dressed up playing Dungeons and Dragons. And then I'm also going to have these little felted Mothman. Yeah, little pocket-sized, hand-sized little Mothman. These will be my little cheaper little felt I'll have. And I'm going to try to have several of these. And then along with those, I have my regular like figure felts. And these are two of them. I'll have these two, and then I'll have Mothman and the Flatwoods Monster. So
time on those larger pieces, how much time are you putting into those to create those?
They take between 2 and 3 hours. So they take a good amount of time, but I've got a pretty good rhythm down for them. And now that I've got their design figured out and set, I kind of have my like method sort of like not like down to a science, but pretty close. So I don't have to do so much finagling and like fiddling. And then these little guys take about an hour. So
very cool. They're all adorable. All adorable. I love them. As far as Small Town Monsters are concerned, what's your favorite film or documentary on YouTube or anything you've watched from them that you really like?
Yeah. Well, I really like a lot of their stuff. I love all of their Bigfoot ones are really good, But I would have to say my favorite one, I really like the Jersey Devil one. That one was one of my favorites because I really like how they did, it felt like a bunch of like little films, like almost like an anthology of Jersey Devil like stories. And I thought that was very cool because they had several of like, not only did they have like the documentary aspect of like telling the story of it, but they also had several little like skits that were acted out with like, you know, actual like actors and stuff like that. And I thought that was like a really neat way to tell the story. And it really had like a like horror movie element to it. And so I really liked that.
Awesome. So if a new artist came up to you, you know, at one of these shows or messaged you online and was looking for advice, what would you tell them?
So the number one thing that I tell people is you can't give up. So when you first start doing a thing, you're never going to be good at it. No one starts out being good at anything. The key is to keep doing it and keep practicing, and you have to just work through your ugly stuff. Like, everyone makes like ugly art all the time. You just don't ever see it because no one posts it on Instagram, you know? So we're all making ugly art all the time. You just have to accept it, be okay with it, and learn from it. You just have to look at it and see, okay, what did I do wrong here? And how do I want to correct it in my next piece? And you just have to work through it, because I know whenever I'm like creating stuff, that was a big hang up of mine is, oh, I suck. I am not good at this, because you make like one bad piece or one piece doesn't go the way you want. But it's really a matter of just doing it as much as possible and practicing and working on it. So
not quitting. I love that advice. I'm a big fan of never give up, no matter what. Just keep it going. All right. So how can everybody find you online? I know you mentioned Etsy. Those of us on Instagram definitely know how to use a bio. If you don't, go to the person's profile and click that link up top.
Yeah, so at the moment, I'm super active on my Instagram. I try to post almost every day, like through the week. And then, so that's like my most active place. And then I do have my Etsy store, which I try to be, I mean, I'm really good at responding if anybody reached out to me on my Etsy. And I always try to mail things as soon as I can, because whenever I order stuff, I get super excited about it. So I always try to like ship things as soon as possible. And then I have a Facebook page as well. So yeah, at the moment I don't have my own website. I'm trying to work on that. I'm not very web tech savvy, but I think a friend of mine is going to help me out with that. So yeah, and then I do have an email address as well.
All right, you're welcome. I was going to say you're welcome to shout anything out you want to, handle-wise or, you know, email-wise. We can also put it, you know, in the caption. I can go back and edit this when we put it up, and we can add to it there too, and that way everybody knows where to find you.
Okay, yeah, my email is just whitneyyadenart@gmail.com, and then my Etsy shop is just Whitney Yaden Art, and I think that is also my Facebook page. So yeah, I try to keep it pretty simple, though.
Right? Yeah. You've got it down, woman. You've got it down. Well, I really appreciate you coming on real quick tonight and talking about what you're doing and what you're bringing. I can't wait to see you there and see your table and display, because I've been looking at your other, you know, events, and I think you've got it going on. And I think anybody who buys your stuff is getting a steal of a deal.
Yeah, I always try to price my stuff like pretty reasonable, because I don't know, I know what it's like to want to buy art or want to support people, and you just can't. You just like don't have the funds. So I always try to price my stuff where it's reasonable, but you know, I also like make what I feel like I should make off of it and stuff like that. So
yeah, you're definitely very reasonable, and there's no reason why anybody should leave Monster Fest with Small Town Monsters without something from your table. But yeah, I appreciate it, hon. I hope you have a wonderful evening, and I will see you in a few weeks.
All right. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Good night, hon. Bye.